In this video, we'll demonstrate how to correctly download the Introduction to Photography template. The 1920 by 1280 pixel template is used to prepare photos for digital sharing or display. So the link for this template is provided in the video link below, and we're going to click where it says click here to download the template. Be careful, a common mistake is to try and right click on this photo or click on this photo and download the actual photo. And that's not what we want to do. You'll know you have the correct file downloaded because it will be a multiple layer Photoshop file. And this will be our first time looking at a multiple layer Photoshop file. Not difficult to understand, but it will be an indicator that you've got the correct file. So I'm going to click here where it says click here to download. I can do that above or below the picture. I'm going to click the one above, and you'll notice it's downloading up here in the upper right. And Photoshop is pretty smart. It downloads the file and uncompresses it and opens it within Photoshop. However, if it doesn't automatically open in Photoshop, we can click on our Downloads tab up here, and that may vary depending on the version of Safari or the operating system we have. But if it doesn't open automatically, we can click on the Downloads tab and drag it out to our desktop. Once we have it to our desktop, we can double click on it and open it up inside Photoshop. Once inside Photoshop, we'll click on the Layers tab, and you'll notice there are 5 layers here. The eyeball next to the layer means that it's visible. By clicking the eyeball and turning the eyeball off, it means that that layer is no longer visible. We want all the layers right now to be visible, and you'll know you have the correct file if you have these layers. The layers that say your picture here, your name here, your device here, TV and TE. So the next step is to change the name identifier in the left-hand corner. A common mistake is to move the mouse over toward the name here, in this case Humpty Dumpty, and begin clicking on it to try to change it. But a much more efficient and recommended way to change the name is to look for the type T in the Layers tab. If we double click on the type T, a fast double click on that T will highlight the entire name. You can now see that Humpty Dumpty is highlighted. We don't need to take our cursor in there and back up and delete anything. Instead, we can just type our name. So I'll type Joe Smith. Once I have my name typed, I'll click on the Move tool, and that'll accept the change. The next thing to do is the same for the device. You may be using a camera, you may be using a phone. You're going to double click on that type T, and I'm using an iPhone 6, so I'll just type small I, capital Phone, and the number 6, and I'll click the Move tool to accept that change. So we've prepared this template with our name and our device, and now we want to save it to the desktop so that the next time we need it, we don't have to download it again and change the name and the device. We could do that, but it takes time, and we've already changed it once, so it's not necessary to continue to re-download it. So this next step is pretty important. It's saving it correctly. So we'll go up to File, and we'll go to Save As, and we'll notice that it's called 2018 Stu Template 2, and that's fine. We're going to click on the desktop to make sure that it's going there, and we're going to change the file name. We're going to change it to our last name. I'll call it Photo Template. I'll make sure that it's going on the desktop. I'll make sure that the format is a Photoshop file. Saving it as a Photoshop file will ensure that all these layers are here, because I'm going to want to add new photos, my photos, your photos, to prepare them to be submitted or displayed on the web or digitally. So I want all these layers to still be here, and I can ensure that by saving it as a Photoshop file. I'll hit Save. I get questioned if I want to maximize capacity. Always make sure that box is checked. I'll click OK. And you'll notice now I have 2 templates out here on the desktop. One is the 2018 the kind of generic template that we downloaded, and now here's the new one that already has my name and my device in it. I can click on this one, the old one, and drag it to the garbage can or hit Command Delete to get rid of it, and now I have one that is set up with my information. In the next video, we'll talk about how to bring photographs into this template and size them correctly by utilizing Photoshop's free transform option that will allow us to transform our photos proportionately, meaning that when we shrink them or enlarge them, the size vertically and horizontally stays the same throughout the transformation. That'll be in the next video that's also included as a link below this video.